right, guys, some of the biggest struggles in staying off marijuana. So I put this out to the community the other day, and a lot of people reached out saying why they're having a hard time staying off the weed. And I remember that for me, I had to go through a process of figuring those things out for myself as well, and then letting them go. To share a few with you right now, friends, hang out with people that also smoked, made it very difficult. I really had to, when I got sober, I really had to go into a period of solitude and cut off the people that I was spending a lot of time with, because all we would do was smoke together. So that was a big one, and I'm sure a lot of people have that same thing as well. So to go through a few of these, a big one from Southwest Wind, thank you for sharing, was the escapism that it creates. And I just made a video talking about 4 healthy escapes, and I think that's a great one to watch if you struggle with this, because life is tough, right? And it's very difficult to sit with everything that goes on without being phased, without moving, or like trying to be super spiritual like you see in the pictures of people meditating on a mountaintop. It's like, okay, that's not reality. Even the people that do this for a living, monks, nuns, they struggle with it too. Like, that's probably why they went into it in the first place. So to think that we should just get sober and then be super enlightened all the time, like, that's not realistic. So I think it's really healthy to have escapes that are gonna fill your sails, lift your soul with wind, whatever analogy or thing you want to use. So check out that video if that's something that you are trying to find healthy escapisms, because we do need to escape sometime and find fun things to do that can recharge us so we can get back into the grind of life and working hard. The next one from Sean Ford, and this one kind of is similar to the last one, finding something else to do and the pessimism that follows. And I think the big thing here is the word pessimism. I had a lot of pessimism. I was very upset with the world, where I was in life, how I ended up in this situation, and it took a long time to make peace with that. So this is not an easy one, because yeah, you got to go through a lot of pain and anger, which to do so, and what I would advise is to get into coaching with myself or into recovery programs, because the goal of those is to overcome that anger in a very healthy and productive way, to make peace with the past and be able to move forward. Also, some things with pessimism too is to really work on the other things you're putting into your body, aka food. Are you exercising? What are you consuming on media, right? If you're watching a bunch of negative news about the wars and all that stuff, yeah, you're probably gonna feel pretty depressed. I haven't watched the news besides 2 minutes in over 7 years, because I knew that the news was only gonna bring me down. Also, what else are you watching? Are you watching really negative stuff? Are you consuming negative music? Or are you hanging out with friends that also have a very pessimistic and negative attitude? That is just gonna bring you down as well. And so it's really important, again, and that's why recovery groups are so great, because you can find people that live a positive and healthy, happy life, and that choose, because it's a choice, and which hopefully you'll be able to choose for yourself as time goes on. They choose to be happy. And when you're surrounded by people that are positive, uplifting, motivating, you're gonna feel that same energy, and it's just by default, you're slowly gonna begin to embody that. So today I only hang out with people that I find positive and uplifting and motivational, to say. All right, so we got another funny one from Wendy. She says, I'm now 11 days free and I don't know, which I appreciate the honesty, Wendy. Yeah, sometimes you don't know. And that is the point of recovery, is to figure out more about yourself, who you are without the marijuana. And so as you continue down this journey of self-discovery, self-growth, you're gonna find more things about yourself that maybe you never knew. There's things that I like to do now that I never thought I would enjoy or that would be a part of my life. Like basketball, for example. I couldn't dribble a ball until a couple years ago. And then as soon as I started though, I was hooked. And I spent probably 3-4 days a week in the gym learning how to play basketball. And I'm in Mexico now, so I haven't played it in a couple months since I've been here. I'm sure there are places, but it's just, whenever I go back to the US or where there's a place where basketball is a lot more popular, I know I can hop into that and have a great time. So if I were Wendy, I would really take this as an opportunity to dive deep into myself and find out what I love, what things light my fire, what I'm passionate about, what I'm not passionate about, and let those out of my life, let those go. And this may be a journey. There may be things that today you love and tomorrow you don't love, and that's okay, because what's important is that as long as you're off the marijuana, you're always gonna be able to tap in with yourself, with your intuition, what you want, and so on and so forth. Also, if you would have told me at the beginning of my journey that I love talking about marijuana recovery, I would have called you crazy. Literally, I probably would have thought you were smoking weed. And here we are today making these videos, and I freaking love doing them. So you never know what you're gonna find in life that's gonna lift your sails and give you hope, inspiration, joy, passion, etc. And again, the key is to be off that marijuana so you can find that out. The very last one, and this is the one I touched on kind of in the beginning as well, from Arguman 9197 is people. Laugh out loud. Yes, people are going to be, at least for me, people have been the biggest trigger, which means the biggest opportunity for growth as well. However, the most challenging relationships I think one is going to find in life is with oneself and then with other people. Other people, the reason why I think it's so challenging is because they are always a reflection of a part of yourself. That's probably why you like that person in the first place, right? Because they remind you of something that you like about yourself. I know I like to hang out with people that I have similar interests with. Sure, I have people in my life that I do not always share the same, passions and joys, but there's another thing that we can get along with, or maybe I really like their personality, etc. So those are things that draw me to them. Now, as we get sober and we realize, okay, maybe the people around me have not been very healthy either. And not saying that, blame them, oh my gosh, you're unhealthy, so I'm unhealthy. No, it's saying vibe attracts tribe, right? So we are responsible for the people we attract in our life. And owning that, it's like, okay, I can really take an honest inventory of the people in my life and say, okay, is this person lifting my sails up or are they dragging me down? Are they a sailboat or are they an anchor? And if they're a sailboat, ride that sailboat to the to the sunset, right? But if they're an anchor, maybe it's time to cut that anchor off and let it sink to the bottom. And that can be very difficult. And again, I think people is going to be the most difficult relationships that we face in life in general. And I think that's why weed becomes so popular, is because we kind of forget about those issues with relationships sometimes. So a couple quotes I like is vibe attracts tribe. We become like the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So Eckhart Tolle, he teaches spirituality, says, if you think you're so enlightened, go spend a week with your family. And when I heard that, I laughed, because people are going to be a great test of your spiritual fitness, where you are mentally, physically, emotionally, all that stuff. And it's a good gauge, and I've used it as a good gauge to find out where I am on my journey and what I need to improve on. If I'm around people and I'm getting triggered or something's coming up, it immediately tells me, okay, I got to look at this and address this. If I'm hanging out with people and I'm calm, I'm having a good time, and I'm getting good energy back from them, I'm able to give good energy out, I'm like, okay, all right, what I'm doing has been working, let's keep this up. And it's over time, over this 7-year process, almost 7.5 now, I've seen just how much better my relationships have gotten by doing this work, by staying off marijuana, and by looking at some of the root causes of the pain and discomfort and being triggered that comes up when I'm around people. All right, and there was one more that I saw here that I really want to touch on, from Broken Road to Better. Hey, thanks for reaching out, my friend. I see your comments a lot, and I really appreciate them. You always have a great thing to say. What this person says is, I think it's the fact that I've been doing it for so long, it's engraved in my habits and memory. The back and forth sucks because it hasn't been beneficial for me for a long time. And this is really positive, and this shows that there's a lot of self-awareness, because this person has seen that it's become a habit, that it is not beneficial, and that it is creating distress, that it is it's a cycle, it's however you want to call it. This person has seen that it's no longer healthy for them, and awareness is always the first step to change. So yes, definitely marijuana smoking is a habit. It's habitual, right? And that can be the hardest part to break, even sometimes more than the marijuana itself. Although there are withdrawals that come with that, so I'm not discrediting people that are going through that intense period of suffering from that. I did as well. What really helped me, and I think was a big catalyst from stepping out of daily using to sobriety, was to have habits that I could go to that were positive and uplifting, and that made me feel better from day to day. And there's a really good saying, if you're struggling with finding a habit, that it takes 30 days to start a new habit, right? 30 days. That's a long time, and that's not a long time. So when I do coaching, I tell people that the 30-day mark is the hardest to get through, but it's the most powerful, because once you can get through that 30-day mark, then you're kind of free. So maybe not completely. However, what I see people have at the 30-day mark is that awareness of what life is like sober. It's enough time to experience that. 2, they have the confidence that they can get to 30 days. And once you hit that big milestone, it's like, okay, if I can get to 30 days, I can get to 60 days. Once you hit 60 days, I can get to 90 days, and so on and so forth. Now, also, if a relapse comes after that 30-day mark, it's like, okay, I've gotten to 30 days before, I can do it again. So there's a bit of a buffer, and it creates that inner confidence that it is possible to live life without marijuana. So I think 30 days is always key for anything you're starting, whether it be a sport, whether it be reading, fitness, eating well. 30 days, give yourself about that time for it to become maybe more of a habitual thing, right? A healthy habitual thing, not like smoking marijuana. And if you want help finding out for yourself how to get to that 30-day mark to quit marijuana, then I invite you to reach out to me for sober living coaching. I'll get to know you, we'll hop on a call, I'll find out where you are in your journey and how we can best get you to that 30-day mark and beyond, right? Life is short, life is long, but life is also short. And I wanted to maximize my life potential as much as possible. So I said, hey, I'm gonna go hard for 30 days, and then that became 60 days, 90 days, etc. And now we're here today. So if I can do it, trust me, I smoked a lot of freaking weed. I know you can too. And comment down below if you have anything that is holding you back from getting sober from marijuana. I'd love to know, and I'm sure others will as well. So with that, guys, talk to you soon. Peace.